Wade in the water, children.
This is the last known photograph of Harriet Tubman, taken about a month before she died in Auburn, New York, where she's also buried with the simple epitaph, "Servant of God, well done." The incredible life story behind these 5 final words begins here in Dorchester County, Maryland, where she was born into slavery in 1822 and named Arminta Ross. Today, there's a new mural just outside the town's Tubman Museum and a regular crowd of tourists here to see and learn more about the beautiful, bold, bad black woman called the Moses of her people.
She was a formerly enslaved woman who took her own freedom.
Biographer Kate Clifford Larson shares Harriet's story in Bound for the Promised Land, Harriet Tubman, Portrait of an American Hero.
Rattle off a quick resume for me of Harriet Tubman. Who was this 5-foot-tall woman?
She was the middle child of 9 children of Ben and Rit Ross. She had 4 brothers and 4 sisters, and she had this intensity about her, this love for her family, love for her community, profound, deep faith that guided her and protected her. All of those things made this woman that became the greatest, Underground Railroad agent of all time.
I think I'm going to back it off a little bit. Maybe.
That agent's story is now a major motion picture, directed by Casey Lemons.
There's not much time. You got to be miles away from here before dawn. Where is she? Follow that North Star. If there are no stars, just follow the river. Listen for them. Fear is your enemy. Whoa. Easy now.
I'm gonna be free or die.
It's almost like my action film, This is my superhero film.
Harriet's superpower? Traveling more than 100 miles on foot at least a dozen times to free more than 70 slaves.
I don't know if you know how extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom all by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman.
Seeing your film, reading more about her, it still stuns me that she was illiterate.
Yeah, and remained illiterate. Yeah, she never learned. She said she didn't have a talent for it. But also she had a more important communication, Yes. Yeah, she knew things without having to read them. But, it just seems incredibly inconvenient to us now.
Tony Award-winning actress Cynthia Erivo plays the role of Harriet.
Edward Brodus is your master.
And fellow Broadway star Leslie Odom Jr. plays the role of abolitionist William Still.
Rescuing slaves requires skill and careful planning. It requires reading, Harriet. Can you read a sign or a map? Can you read it all?
I put my attention on trying to hear God's voice more clearly.
Do you know what would happen if you got caught? They would torture you until you pointed them right to this office. You got lucky, Harriet.
Cynthia, what would you say the greatest lesson Harriet Tubman taught you in doing this film?
That even when you feel small or insignificant, that you probably have more power than you know. That I have more strength and will in me in order to change the world, and I have stuff to offer this world. Yeah.
Because even in terms of stature,
She was 5 foot.
And you're about?
5 foot.
Papers. It says here you're 5.5 feet tall. You ain't more than 5 feet.
Must have won my high boots that day.
I'd venture to say that for many of us, you were introducing us to William because we did not know about him.
Sure.
Who is he?
Sure. William is known as the father of the Underground Railroad. He's an abolitionist, a writer, a brilliant man, and a friend to Harriet Tubman. He was really the last stop on the Underground Railroad, on this great network.
And there's nothing more you can do.
Don't you tell me what I can't do. I made it this far on my own. God was watching, but my feet was my own. Running, bleeding, climbing, nearly drowned, nothing to eat for days and days, man. I made it. So don't you tell me what I can't do.
This is the first theatrical film on the life of Harriet Tubman. Why do you think it's taken this long?
Well, I know that there have been many attempts up until this point. Even this film itself took a very long time. It was written 20 years ago and really didn't start seeing the light of day until 10 years ago. And it was 3 years from the moment Deborah found me. And so it's taken its time. But I think, you know, Casey and I like to joke that maybe Harriet decided that now is the time for her.
And for a woman who believed in God's perfect timing, that's no surprise. Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Dorchester County, Maryland.